Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to go through another treatment method. So we're going to go from this to this. So this will work on matrix opal, fairy opal, and today we're going to use sugar and acid. So I've already done the sugar and heat, I've already done the oil and heat. We're going to go with another classic method, sugar and acid. It'd be the first or second most popular option. But I will say, as a professional, PhD in chemistry, works in a lab managing, the use of sulfuric acid does need a disclaimer. It is pretty nasty stuff, especially the stuff that I used, because mine was right up here at the 98%. It's pretty aggressive. You can tell by the warning symbols. We're pretty corrosive and we are also pretty toxic, especially when you're doing reactions with it. So you really do want to be very careful with this. As a professional, I am still not overly comfortable. I like working in my lab. I've got plenty of extra safety stuff, including fume cupboards and stuff. At home, I don't have that, so it is I'm a little bit cautious about using the sulfuric acid. So I would only recommend this method if you can safely do it at home, and I'll probably hint to a lot of the precautions that I take myself and that everyone should take, because it's pretty much the bare minimum throughout the video. So hopefully that'll help. And also, you don't have to use 98%. You also don't need to heat it too much. You can take a lot of precautions to lower the risk profile, because it's certainly more risky than just baking some sugar rocks in the oven. But anyway, we'll go through the process and then we'll talk again after. So away we go, starting off hot, dry rocks. So just because I'm doing a really small batch, I'm just putting the two on the handles of my slow cooker, which is sitting on low. That is 89 degrees, a little bit below boiling water temperature. We don't want to lose too much water, so we'll just keep it just below and still have to top up every now and then, but not so bad. And then we're going to prepare the sugar solution. So I've just put in enough sugar that would cover the stone, and then we're just going to put in a minimum amount of water. I overshoot it a little bit here. You can make it surprisingly concentrated. Use hot water, not cold water. I mean, you guys will be doing this all within the crock pot itself, so it will all just go directly in there. I'm just doing a smaller scale test with individual samples, so I'm just using extra little jars. Really, all of this would just be done in the main vessel. So we're chucking the rocks in, getting it nice and hot, and we're pretty much just going to leave this like that for at least overnight. I'd say minimum 8 hours. I think below 8 hours, you're not letting it soak in enough. You can also leave it up for days if you want. I've left these ones for just under 24 hours, so overnight, and then took them out the next day. We're going to put the lids on just to slow the water loss, and over 24 hours, you only need to top up about 2 times if you're pretty good about it. So turning it off, and then remove the stones, and you should have a look at the sugar solution. It's going to go pretty dark. The longer you leave it, the darker it'll get. And then we're going to sulfuric acid, which is the most risky part of this entire process. It is not nice stuff. I'm using 98%. It is 98% dangerous. So you can see I've got safety glasses, lab coat, I've got gloves. I'm using plastic tweezers throughout this whole process. Those plastic tweezers won't last long. They will die pretty quickly. The gloves will even die if you leave them in the 98% for too long. So we're just going to take these stones out and then carefully chuck them in. They're still pretty warm. You can let them cool all the way off before adding it, but I decided to just test it out while it was still pretty warm. In they go, and just check out how quickly this reaction happens. And this is at room temperature. Now I know a lot of people like to heat up their sulfuric acid, and it can be done. It can be done fairly safely. What that's doing is that's going to speed up the reaction, speed it up hugely. But you'll see from this room temperature recording that I've done, the speed is not a huge problem. It is still pretty quick. You could just leave it in here for a couple hours instead of the couple minutes that you want to at nearly boiling sulfuric acid. It does lower the risk profile of this reaction a lot by just doing it at a standard temperature. You just got to have a little bit more patience, and you can see here, the only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is the bleeding out of the sugar solution from within the stone, but it's a pretty rapid reaction, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. We can always retreat again afterwards, but for now, just check that out. It's pretty quick, and the stones are going pretty dark. Alright, now after the reaction, you'll see that it is pretty black. So we've reacted all of the sugar solution. You've diluted the acid a little bit, and it's a little bit reacted, so a little bit weaker, but it's still not to be messed with. It might not be 98% anymore, but it's still very aggressive, very strong. You can lower the percentage of sulfuric acid you use, but again, that's going to lengthen the reaction time as well. And if it is a lower concentration, that's probably when you do need to start warming it. But we're just going to take these stones out, and I'm just chucking them straight in water. Now, I'm just demonstrating here what you don't want to do. You don't want to take the tweezers from the water and chuck them straight in the acid. You never want to add small amounts of water to acid. You want to add the acid to the water. So be very careful, it could react. And then the little stones you saw there, they've treated pretty well, but we don't want to handle them yet. They're very acidic, so we're going to add some sodium bicarbonate, bicarb soda, into the solution, and you'll see how aggressively that's reacting. That is indicating that there is still a lot of acid. Remember, these stones are quite porous. The more porous it is, the more acid is trapped within. So what we're going to do is just do a slow addition until the fizzing stops. And be careful of the fizzing, because when those bubbles are coming up, that's the gas being created and it's launching out at the surface. And with that, it's going to carry a little bit of solution with it. So you could end up with a bit of spittle all around the thing, the vessel, and you'll need to neutralize and clean all of that as well. Or just use a much bigger container with the taller walls. You can see here the reaction is stopped. There's a lot of excess bicarb around, but has it really stopped? So we're just going to mix it all around, give it a good mixy mix, and then we're going to leave it there and just have a look. Just have a look at what happens after leaving it there for a while. So we're starting to get inside the stone. There's still plenty of trapped acid in there, and all of this gas is that reacting with the excess bicarb. So we're going to give it an extra long soak to get the acid deep from within the stone. When that's done, we're going to swap them over to fresh water, and I'm just going to do one final check. Just chucking a bit of powder. Don't ever be scared of adding too much powder. What we're doing is using a weak base to neutralize a strong acid. So the handling of bicarb soda is perfectly fine. It's just slightly basic. So it's much better to be slightly basic than super acidic. And you can see here, I've lost a little bit of the darkness by doing all these extra soaks and everything, but the stone is pretty well treated still, and we can always do it again. You can just see here a little bit of that brown solution is still there, but look at the excess bicarb and no more fizzing rocks. So we know we're safe and we are good to go. Alright, and there you have it. That's how you end up with a dark rock from a light rock using sugar and acid. And I'll emphasize it again, this stuff is super dangerous. Sulfuric acid, when it's concentrated, is nasty stuff, really nasty stuff. So hopefully I pointed out a lot of the risks along the way and how to tackle them to the best you can. But if at all you're uncertain or not confident, just don't do it. Just avoid the sulfuric acid. You'll have to weigh up whether the risk is worth the reward. And I'll just dunk this in water just so that you can actually see the more wet look. Because these are pretty much meant to be blank tiles, you can actually see that there are a couple blue streaks going through it. But overall, not a huge amount of color. It's more just we're trying to study the darkness, and I, again, will do a video comparing all of the methods that I've used, and we'll give these a good slice through and see how deep the treatment went, and we'll just compare the shades and everything like that. This one didn't treat overly well, but it was a just under 24-hour sugar bath. The sugar solution could have been a little bit more concentrated, and of course I could have heated the acid and stuff, but honestly, you really don't need it. You saw how quick the reaction was. It's pretty fast. You can do some pretty funky experiments with sugar and sulfuric acid if you've ever seen the carbon snakes, and you don't need to heat that. It's a very exothermic reaction, so it does heat itself. You've got to be a bit careful about that. And I put these rocks in fairly hot because they came straight out of the sugar solution. Heating the whole thing up can speed up the reaction a very significant amount and make it much more aggressive, but of course that raises the risk profile as well. In essence, the method works. It's very consistent, a nice even finish, but you just got to weigh in your risk reward, and for me it's typically not really worth the risk. I could do a massive batch in the lab with all that safety gear, but it's thousands of bucks worth of extra infrastructure that I don't have at home, and that would make me really confident in doing the process. But at home, especially things like the chemical disposal at the end, is quite tricky. But anyway, I hope that helps. Some people may be interested. I know a lot of people that do this in their back sheds and they seem perfectly fine and happy and content with it. Others, if you're a little bit worried about it, I'd advise just to choose an alternative method, one that doesn't involve any acid, and you should be fine. But again, I'll cover that in the video when I'm comparing all of these different methods and we have a look at a bunch of the finished slabs. And you can make up your own decision. What I might think is the best may not be the best in your circumstances. Keep that in mind, and I will see you in the next video. We'll also get onto stabilizing a lot of this stuff very soon. But for now, I've actually got to put these down and pick this bad boy back up, my little jeweler saw, because I am trying to saw metal, silver in particular, and it's been a lot of fun so far, and you should be able to see the results very soon on the channel. Stay tuned for the jewelry stuff, stay tuned for more of the opal treatments and the stabilization just around the corner, so we can get nice shiny rocks out of very cheap material. Still to this day, quite underrated. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I better keep on working though. See you guys.